Welcome to another episode of Presentation Hell, broadcasting from Tampa, Florida at Mbar Collective. I am your host today, Alexandra Antra, and with us, I'm so excited for this. We have CUP, Coffee Uniting People. We have the founders, Greg Jones. Greg, what do you prefer?
Call me Greg.
Greg Jones and his wife Laura Jones, who started this awesome coffee shop. It's called CUP, Coffee Uniting People, and it is operated, run by people with special needs. The coffee's great. I love the concept. I love getting my coffee every morning. It makes me happy. Everyone's super friendly and wonderful. And like, what gave you the idea to do this? It's a fabulous idea. Tell us.
Okay, so well, thanks for having us, Alex.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate this. So, kind of a long story, but years ago, Laura and I were at dinner with some friends one night who had a child who had some neurological challenges, and we were involved in a little league in South Tampa, and they were telling us how he had to go to Clearwater to play baseball because there was no place for kids with special needs to play baseball.
So that's an hour and a half drive with traffic. Could even be like 2 hours. That's a long haul for baseball.
Yeah,
in the
really
league.
is.
On a kid, on a grown up, on anyone. Yeah.
So that just didn't seem right to us. So we started a league at our little league called Challenger Baseball, which is baseball for boys and girls with special needs. And as Laura would say, it was the best hour or two of our week. Everybody cheered.
Everybody cheered for
Everybody.
Everybody.
It's just fun.
And they had buddies. So, everybody was involved.
So that's how we got our initial, because we don't have anybody in our family who has a disability. So from that, we kind of got our fingers into the disability community, stayed involved with it throughout the years. I'm an attorney by trade, and my goal was to eventually to get out of the law gig and get into a nonprofit on a full-time basis. Went back and got a master's degree a couple of years ago and a nonprofit leadership certificate, and with the thought of getting into a nonprofit. And then, one day on a Saturday morning run, he came up with this idea and came home and took Laura to lunch and told her about my idea. And I think her words were, "You've had 1,000 dumb ideas." But
spoken like a true wife.
Yeah.
Happy wife.
But I really like this one. And she said, "Let's do it." And so that's how it started.
So let's just talk for a minute. So you're an attorney by trade, obviously very well educated, 4 years of college, 3 years of law school, and then a lot of experience running a law firm. But then you decided to go back to school to get re-educated to do a nonprofit, because a lot of people have pie in the sky ideas, and they're wonderful ideas. You're like, I'm going to quit my day job and I'm going to do something great and wonderful. And they think, and maybe they're right, that because of all the business experience they have, it should be easy and I'm going to go start it. But you decided, I'm going to learn the discipline. Talk about that, because I think a lot of people, personally, I'm interested in knowing what made you decide to go back to school as opposed to, I've been running, a law. I know the law. I know business. I've been consulting. I can open a coffee shop. No problem.
Yeah. Well, so at age 60, I went back to University of Florida and I got this master's degree.
Never too old to learn.
Yeah.
Life is a continual education.
Love it. Until I realized that it took me a day and a half to figure out how to get into the UF online library. Education has completely passed me by in about 35 years. But decided to do that. And quite frankly, I remember my first class, I was thinking, what have I got myself into here? Because all these kids were 25 and I was 60, and the professor was 10 years younger than me, and I couldn't,
It's humbling.
Yeah. So it took a while. My wife was very patient with me. It was a struggle at times, but it happened during the pandemic, which was fortunate. That helped out. And
you had plenty of time to study and do homework.
Yeah. And eventually got through it and got my degree and got this certificate. And the idea was that, I wanted to make myself more attractive to a nonprofit to get into an executive directorship. I figured if I had this education, it would help me out. And so that was kind of the premise, is the reason why I did it. And then as we were going through this process in my last semester of my school, we came up with this idea and thought, well, why don't we just start our own? And we looked around and had came up with this idea, realized there was other people around the country who have done this, but nobody here locally and not many people in Florida. Right. And our concept was a little bit different. And so we just took off and started it in October of 2021. And here we are, our year anniversary of opening up our first shop today, as a matter of fact.
Happy anniversary. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's a celebration.
Yeah. It's been a truly humbling, fulfilling journey, to say the least. And I wouldn't have done it without Laura. And Laura was here from the get-go, and she's been part of the process. She's my co-partner, obviously, right. My wife. But if I didn't have her, seal of approval, we never would have done this. And quite frankly, it's probably been one of the more fulfilling things we've done in our life.
That's awesome. So, Laura, what is your role at CUP?
I am the go-to girl. I help the managers. Yeah. They do grocery runs, any kind of
operations, basically.
Yeah, we call ourselves special ops, and I do whatever's needed.
So you're like the chief operating officer, just making sure the shelves are stocked. The employees show up on time. Yep. Schedules. There's a manager. There's 2 baristas or whatever it is. And what would you say? What's a typical day for you? CUP?
Around CUP, it's not typical. Like I said, I do whatever the managers need. So if they need me to fill in for them, that's my favorite, to be in with the employees,
right,
and get to experience their day and their.
It's interesting as a founder of CUP or any organization, you're like, I do what people need me to do. There's no ego. Like if you really want your business to succeed, you roll up your sleeves and you just do whatever needs to be. Somebody once said you can always tell the owner of a company because they're the one throwing out the garbage and washing the windows. Because no one else is going to get their hands dirty.
Right.
Well, she was down here this morning at 6:15, right?
Yep.
Getting ready. Up. Yeah. So, we've got the best employees, and that makes it all worthwhile. Is to be part of their their day, if you will, and see the happiness that they bring to our store and to our customers. At the end of the day, you can get coffee anywhere. You can get it from a gas station, but you leave CUP a little better person by the experience that you have.
It makes me happy.
Yeah,
I'm just happy. Everybody's happy there.
Yeah,
like nobody's like screaming that there. It's like, oh, you used oat milk. I needed skim milk. There's just like none of that. Just
that's been one of the cool things is that our employees. We've got great employees. Everybody's happy to be at work. For the most part, everybody's on time. Nobody's, complaining for the most part.
Right. You're lucky.
The collateral benefits that we see with our employees, moms and dads and brothers and sisters and immediate family members are just through the roof.
And everybody is paid. They're not volunteer. It's not, like an internship. So those baristas
are paid.
They're paid.
Yeah.
And some of them have like Downs. They have any kind of disability,
Tourette's, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, epilepsy. Yes,
we've got 38 employees that all have a form of an intellectual or developmental disability.
Right.
Some diagnosed, some not diagnosed. Quite frankly, but the cool thing is, I say cool. The interesting thing is that we've got another 45 on the wait list to come to work for us.
Wow.
So there's a huge demand.
That says a lot when there's like 4% unemployment. You know.
Well, statistics have shown that 80% of individuals with disabilities are not employed.
Yeah.
And there's this thing called the cliff about 21, 22. That there's not a lot of opportunities out there after they get out of school. So we've got a lot of opportunity to put folks to work.
Yeah, and I know that from my own experience. So my brother was born with Larson syndrome, which it's a physical disability, but his very rare congenital disorder where your joints don't connect. And his bones are very brittle, and he's pretty much in a wheelchair. And he got through school, but as he got to high school, it got more and more difficult for him. And then after high school, it's like, well, now what do you do? And my other brothers and my sister were all in and out of the house. We're going to college, and he's home all day. And it's like you said, it's the cliff. Once they get to a certain age, what do they do? And everybody needs a purpose.
Right.
It doesn't have to be paid. It just, everybody needs something worthwhile to do with their day. And CUP gives them that. Yeah. And I love that you recognize that. Yeah. And any parent with a child with special needs is like, well, now what do we do? You know, when they're a kid, you take care of them. It's like, okay, you're 21.
We know there's a saying as a parent, those who are listening who have kids, a parent is only as happy as his or her least happiest child. So our employees are mostly younger, and most all of them work small numbers of hours because a lot of them are on Social Security disability. Right. So you can only work a certain number and receive a certain amount of money and not jeopardize that. So I had a gentleman, one of our dads, one of our employees tell me not too long ago that my daughter gets off from work. She works 3 hours a week. All she does is talk about her shift, her 3-hour shift for the next 3 days. And then the following 3 days, she wants to talk about her upcoming shift. So it brings this, sense of fulfillment and purpose that you have identified.
That they're doing something worthwhile. And they are. They have a job. They have responsibilities.
Yeah. And
the whole Social Security, that's so antithetical. It's like, we're going to pay you not to work. And you have people who want to work. It's like, is there a middle ground that they can still get their benefits? Yeah. Or, and actually we went through that with my brother because his medical expenses were like through the roof. But we did not, and this is going back 30 years, 20 years. So it was not as accepted as it is. People didn't have as much awareness. So the option was you can go live in an institution and the state will pay for everything. But then if you lived at home, you got like limited benefits.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's not helpful. No. But, it's getting better. And I think as a society, we're starting to accept people that are different and that everybody's different. Nobody fits in a category. And I know politics, we're like, gonna label you LGBTQ. I'm gonna label you, well, you're not Mexican, you're Spanish or Latin American, not Latin American, Southern American, like all of these. And there's like, you look at the census and there's all these classifications and we have to classify everything. And honestly, nobody, special needs or not, is really classifiable. Yeah. If that's even a word.
No, and and what we like to say is that, we hire folks of all abilities because, quite frankly, we all have different abilities. We all have some form of a disability. In some respects. Okay.
Some people are just more honest about it.
Yeah.
I say everybody's disabled.
Yeah. So that's kind of our motto is to be able to provide an opportunity, albeit some on a very minimal nature of a couple hours a week, but the happiness that it brings to not only our employees, but like I said, their immediate family members, and importantly, our customers. Because you kind of walk out, like I said, you leave there
with your cup of happy.
Yeah,
I got my cup of happy this morning.
What do you say? What? Raise your cup, fill your cup, fill your soul.
Your cup. Yeah.
Fill your soul, fill your cup.
Yeah. So it's been it's like I like to say, next to going to Disney World is the happiest place you should go to,
and a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got so
the line is shorter.
22nd Street Coffee, Denise Reddick at Brisk Coffee has been our coffee vendor since the get-go.
Okay.
And that's been kind of another side story. It's just been wonderful. Everybody who's been involved in organization, from the build out to the contractors to the architects, Kathy and Eric Creer, the Girardis, Doug Shields, Phil Carroll, have all donated their time and services or at a discount. Kevin Edmondson, Electric. It's just been wonderful.
And these are all Tampa businesses.
These are all local businesses. And Denise Reddick gives us our coffee at a huge discount. She's helped train our employees. McDonald's Training Center has been part of our
McDonald's Big Mac McDonald's?
No,
not
McDonald's Training Center.
Okay, just tell me about that.
So the McDonald's Training Center is a nonprofit organization that's been in existence for many years. In fact, Laura's mom was on the board of directors years ago.
Okay,
they're out by the airport, and they help train individuals with disabilities. And it's a great organization, and they do a lot of different things, but that's one of their main purposes. And so we work with them. They help train our employees through grants and whatnot. We get no charges for their services and whatnot. So they take our employees and train them in hospitality and bring them back. And
that's great.
And it's really cool. Yeah, it's a great organization. So everybody who's in the boat with us in some fashion, from the guy who's doing the build out to our coffee to our vendors, have just, everybody's full in.
So how did you recruit them? Did you already have personal relationships with them, or did you just approach them and say, look, I have this really great idea called Cup, and I need your help. Would you be willing to donate something? And everybody's like, this is a great idea. I want to do it.
Well, the majority of them had children that went to school with our 5 children.
Okay. So it's 5 kids.
Yes.
God bless you.
So it was through,
You're busy.
Connections. I mean, it was personal connections. And once they heard the story of what we were doing, everybody was immediately in. I mean, fighting.
Right. That's
to
great.
Be aboard.
That's awesome.
It's been relationship driven.
That's
Everything's
awesome.
been relationships.
It's all about relationships.
Yeah, everybody's jumped on board, and they're just, what can we do? And it's been extremely humbling. That we have a great community. South Tampa and the Tampa community has been behind us 1,000%. Great media, the mayor. We got accommodation at City Hall. Just there's been no downside. So
did you get some cheap rent? Help with that
here.
Well, let me tell you, Lakshmi,
Embark.
put a plug in for the folks at Embark, because
that's incredible.
Without Lakshmi, we wouldn't have our 1-year anniversary. They've been wonderful to us.
She's a rock star.
Yeah,
Lakshmi's a rock star.
Yeah, it's been great. And then we opened up our second store on Southdale, Mabry.
When did you open that?
So we opened that in August
12th, 23.
Yep, August of last year. Been open about 6 months. We built that one out and paid for that through all of our fundraising, which has been over the top successful. And that's been open now and had a great build out, great grand opening. The traffic there every day is getting better and better. Right. That's kind of our flagship store this one is our second store. And we hope, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, we could only have 2 coffee shops, but I've got these grand plans.
What are your grand plans? Where is Cup 5 years from now?
We want to be the Starbucks of special needs coffee shops. We want to have a cup on every corner.
A cup on every corner.
Yeah.
A cup of happy, your cup of soul.
Exactly. And we can do it. There's no doubt we can do that. And it may not just be coffee shops. It could be
sandwiches.
It could be sandwiches. It could be restaurants. It could be car washes. It could be bookstores. There's just a gigantic need and a really untapped labor market.
Yeah.
Our employees do a lot of things really good. And we want to just capture that and tackle that issue of unemployability.
Awesome. So let's go meet some employees now.
Love to.
Welcome to the second half of our podcast presentation held today. We are with Cup, Coffee Uniting People. And joining us now is Katie Huddle, who is a barista, and Stephanie Williams, who is a manager of the Cup store here. So I'm going to start with you, Katie.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I am a barista at Cup. I really like how hands-on coffee making is. And besides working at Cup, I also do professional acting gigs and voice acting gigs. So I also work for another podcast too, so it's really cool.
So can you give us like a voice?
Oh goodness, it's the morning.
You haven't had your coffee yet?
I guess so. Well, another voice that I like to do, her name is Mighty Mila, and she is like the villainess of like the superhero story. So she's always calling Bobby names. So she's always calling him like Bobby Blanket or Bobby Blunder, so stuff like that.
Is that your voice? Is that the voice?
Yeah, that's the voice that I do, and it just depends on how long I'm gonna do it.
So how did you find Cup?
well, I know you. And I needed a job. What happened was I needed a job, and I heard from Emily, because Emily's one of my friends from Pepin a long time ago and stuff.
Okay.
We went to school together, and so I heard from her that she was not auditioning. Sorry, wrong mindset. She was applying for a coffee shop called Cup that was new and just opening and needing people. And then and I didn't know who the manager was, and then it was you. And then I was like, oh, I know you. And so then I went to apply, and then I did.
So what's a typical day like? Like, what do you like? What do you like about working at Cup?
I like how hands-on it is. I really like that people just understand. You know, like I don't have to really like mask myself and stuff, and it's nice because like I don't know. I guess like sometimes I feel like I have to because like I'm different, but you know sometimes disabilities.
We're all different.
I know, but sometimes disabilities aren't always physical. You know, and so when I tell people like, oh, I have ADHD, and they're like, I have moderate to severe ADHD, people are like, oh, that's cute. But it's not cute. It's very hard, actually. It makes life very difficult. And so sometimes I've had to mask. But now that I've had more confidence in myself, and now I've been working at Cup and getting confidence from Cup and stuff, like now I'm learning that I don't have to mask myself anyways in life.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
Beautiful.
And if somebody's annoyed with me, then go away.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's true. You're absolutely right.
Getting to the point where I don't care anymore. You know, I'm happy just being me.
So you have more chance to interact with people, and you just build up your social skills and your confidence.
Yep. In a good environment, and a really supportive environment. So,
do you have a favorite coffee that you like to make?
No. Okay. I like all of them. I like how I think my favorite really coffee making probably is when there's like 20 people out the door. You know, I really like that because like when people have like there's a big long line and stuff. I really like being able to do one ticket after another, and when I'm in like focus mode, like it's
because you have ADHD, so that's perfect for you.
Yep,
that's
exactly.
Like a perfect
there's a lot of things.
You.
Also, it's hyper focus, so it works very well.
Nice. And Stephanie, you are the manager of Cup.
Yes.
So
I am.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I come from working. I have a daughter that's special needs as well. She went to school with Katie, and I ended up working at Pepin where she was attending. And
what is Pepin? Is that
Pepin
a school?
Academy is a school in Tampa.
Okay.
Well, they have 3 locations, but they work with all individuals with disabilities of all types. So that's where I ended up because it was a nice fit for me to be able to go to school where she was. And so I was in the transition department, which worked with individuals 18 to 22. And we would go out into
the cliff we were talking
about that cliff that starts going up. Yeah, for sure.
Where are you gonna go? What are you going to do?
Well, and so I would work with them and try to find jobs for them. So I would go out into the community, find companies that were willing to take a group of them with a job coach and work, take them all in. Hopefully finding them jobs after. Well, a lot of times that didn't quite happen yet.
Right.
So my daughter was able to go on and go to college, but a lot of her friends, that wasn't the picture for them. Right. And so in my mind, I was like, we've got to figure out how to give them something after 22.
Right.
So I started thinking of coffee. Then we got to find a coffee shop, but then COVID happened. Then by miracle, God's grace, whatever we want to call it,
God winks.
We were connected. And so that's how we came together.
So how were you guys connected?
What
was the miracle?
It was one of a student that I had at Pepin.
Okay.
His mom is a really good friend with Greg. And
and I got a phone call, said you need to meet this girl. She's a job coach at Pepin. She has 0 experience in running a coffee shop, which I had 0 experience because I'm a lawyer.
Experience is something you learn.
So I literally had a phone call with Stephanie. She was out in California. We did an interview. She was on the side of the road, I think, were you not?
I was, yep.
And she's like, look, I've been wanting to do this, and I understand you're opening this thing in Tampa, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have any experience, but my heart's in at 110%. And I said, let's get back to Tampa and let's meet. And so I met with her and her husband, Bob. Laura and I did at a Panera Bread one morning.
Yep.
And we had no money. We had maybe a couple of pencils.
Right.
And I said, we can't pay you. She said, I don't care. When you can pay me, we'll do it. And we got to the point where we could pay her. And she left her job at Pepin and never run a coffee shop before. And she's done an outstanding job. Yeah.
So you were thinking coffee as well. So the same idea was germinating in the back of your mind. That was germinating in the back of your mind at the same time. And you got an introduction.
And here we go. Yeah. And it's been phenomenal.
So what's a typical day for you in the shop?
Arriving before 6:30.
That hurts
but
me.
You know what? As soon as they walk in the door, I could be there for 15, 20 minutes by myself.
Right.
And it's okay. It's a coffee shop.
Right.
But then it's a coffee shop.
Right.
They walk in the door, it's fun.
It's all about people.
It's all about our employees. They're so
people.
great.
Yep.
So and that it's worth
we're thriving
waking up
because
for.
of you all, you know. Because if the environment wasn't good, we wouldn't be thriving. So because of all of you, we're kind of thriving. Not kind of. We very much are. So FYI, just saying. Really, it's because of all of you.
It's because of you.
Yeah.
We love it. We love having you.
We love being in a environment where we're needed and wanted, instead of just like, oh, you're just another person that we don't need anymore. You know what I mean? So it feels good to be valued.
We had a fundraiser in the fall, and Katie sang for us, and she has got an unbelievable voice.
Do you want to sing for us, Katie?
No.
Okay, fine.
No, it's really like early. Maybe another day.
Another day.
Sally.
She's great.
Maybe another day.
Phenomenal.
I might regret it later.
No, you won't. No.
Yeah.
She's got a great voice.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Coffee Uniting People.
CUP is a Florida nonprofit 501c3. It's an acronym for Coffee Uniting People. And we operate 2 coffee shops in Tampa that employ individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have 38 employees, I believe, and about 45 on the wait list to come to work for us. Katie Huddle is one of our best baristas. And tell us about it, Katie.
It's nice to be in an environment where I can be understood. I don't have to explain myself if I'm having trouble, you know? I can just tell people, like, if I'm having a moment where ADHD affects processing, if I'm having a moment where I'm like, okay, hold on, I'm confused. People aren't going to be like, okay, we'll get it next time. Nope, people aren't going to do that here. They're going to be like, okay, no worries. What do you need? Or people are going to be more understanding. I don't have to mask myself. I can be like weird and different kind of thing. You know, I can, be very out there, and people aren't going to be like, you're weird. Because if somebody does that, I could be like, cool, actually, you're the one who's weird here.
If you're weird is beautiful.
So, you know what?
And we're all different.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've learned to embrace it. And if, like I said, if somebody's annoyed with it, I can't do anything about it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You guys stop by
Come
and see us
us.
sometime in Tampa.
Thanks.
And I promise you'll leave a happier, more fulfilled person because you can interact with Stephanie and Katie.